Are you battling your personal demons? Are you struggling juggling your own responsibilities? Try Doom. It will kill your productivity, but it will also kill your demons. Doom. Better for the people.
All you Call of Duty corporate, it's time to pay respects to the daddy of the first person shooter, and that's Doom.
I remember playing this by our bra Anwar all the time we actually played it. That's because he was the only one who had a PC that could play it. All of us had dumb stuff.
So you remember like running around shooting the things, and what did you actually think it was about? Besides the running around shooting the things, what did you think it was about?
It felt like
I'm very curious to hear what you have to say.
it felt like you were running in hell, like you were playing a first person shooter in hell. Like you were trying, like you were in an army, it was in a war that was in hell.
You are half right. You're actually half right there, because it is about a demonic invasion on a Mars colony, and you play a marine who happens to be there who now has to clean up the mess, which is the perfect, favorite, best, toxic male fantasy. Like, if you think about it, there's nothing more masculine than a man, an army man, killing demons, literal demons with guns. Like, can you believe that?
That's the height and the theme of 90s and 2000s madness.
Yes, it is. And you know what, now? I think at the time, like, this was like a new experience for me personally, because like we didn't really have FPSs at that time.
Yeah, all we knew were platformers, fighting games, and Tetris. Now I'm the one shooting, and they didn't just give you one or two guns, they gave you all the guns, a frag guns. They gave you guns that were bigger than the guns that you could have imagined as guns.
Yeah, this wasn't like you know, like Contra, you pick up the pickups and then it replaces your gun, and then you have like shotgun, but then you pick up laser and you're like, yeah, well, no, that now I'm thinking of Metal Slug. But anyways, you get the idea, no? Yeah, it was like you can use anything as long as you have ammo, and if you have ammo to shoot, you keep it.
And like Mortal Kombat, Doom was met with a lot of controversy. It was violent and it had a frag demonic imagery everywhere.
But if you think about it, you killing demons, so technically you're doing God's work. If you think about it,
It makes sense though, but you try telling that to the people that were trying to stop us to play games.
like just think about it. Like, you know, it makes sense. Like, you're doing the Lord's work, you're killing demons. So how is that evil?
And how many times must we tell you people that video games does not cause violence? It gave us anxiety, it gave us maybe ADHD, but not violence.
Yeah, now we're just slumming in the corner, nervous to talk to people. And look, I don't even really remember the story. I just remember like the atmosphere around the game and like the crazy level design and the monster design, because that's what got me into it, because it was like so different. It was out there.
It was the reason for us to wear black sweaters with red prints on, but also the deathmatch, the multiplayer. This was the thing that made it all what we needed, which we couldn't play really multiplayer because we didn't have proper internet at the time, but we still used to LAN. We used to take our whole computer to our friend's house just to play a game.
Yeah, children these days will never understand the pain of having to carry a whole computer, a whole one, monitor everything to your brother's house.
Nothing was wireless also. You had to
Cables.
a keyboard with a mouse, a keyboard with a cable, a mouse with a cable, there's a monitor that was a block with a cable. Everything had cables, and you had to carry that to your friend's
Like,
house.
you could probably fit 2 computers in the space here. 2. And that's it. And then there's cables everywhere. No place for us. And yeah, I mean, Doom also got into like practically everything that can go. Like, we'll get into that. Like, but yeah, it's been on everything.
Every platform.
Yeah, no, you don't understand. Like, it's been on anything that's electronic. Anything. Like, think about it. Anything. Name something electronic that's on there.
A watch.
It's probably been on a watch. It's a printer. It's been on a printer. A calculator. They put it on a calculator.
What about the fridge?
I'm sure there's a Doom on the fridge. Saeed, is there Doom on the fridge?
Yes.
And this is why Doom is our game of the year. Not because it refined first-person shooter genre or changed up the multiplayer game, but you can now play with your best friend. Now, for a quick break, we bring you gaming law, the unwritten, unspoken law of all games. We don't question, we just accept and abide.
So this one, I have no idea when this one started, and that is basically if you pick up an item, you must keep it until the right moment arises, which might never happen. But you must store it in your inventory until that point.
And even if it is the right moment, you must wait, just in case there's an even more right moment that comes around and goes until the game ends.
Yeah, so that's it. You basically sit with an inventory full of stuff that you've never used. And yeah, if you have any more gaming lore that you would like to share with us, please drop that in the comments.
Horde, horde, horde. That's the gaming law. Now back to our regular viewing.
So I need to say that Doom is arguably the single most influential game of all time. Like when you talk about legacy, Doom is the one.
And before we get into that, remember last time we spoke about Mortal Kombat and violence and getting banned? Well, Doom was also one of the games that led to the age of age restrictions in games.
Yeah, and technically, like we said, you're killing demons, so it's not really satanic. Anyways, we've like covered that already. We're not gonna go further into that.
It's actually more anti-satanic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, go like and subscribe and go watch so that you can also be voiced.
Like the fact that Doom spawned like a bunch of clones in its wake. Like, do you remember the games like Hexen, Duke Nukem 3D, Heretic, Rise of the Triad, and Alien Trilogy? Like, okay, what was your favorite out of that?
Duke Nukem has to be hands down. Duke Nukem was of the games that blew my mind growing up because I could see boobs. It wasn't really boobs. It looked like it was censored because that's how bad the graphics were, but it was still boobs.
Yeah, nah, that definitely pushed. It definitely pushed the boundaries.
And he swore, and he was cool as fuck, and he had a haircut like Kyle.
Yeah, but Doom is was the problematic child out of all of that. But like I remember like most of that, like Rise of the Triads as well, and it all felt like Doom, but like slightly more polished. But couldn't be there without Doom.
Askat, this is where it all started. Doom was the gateway drug to modern warfare.
Like think about it, they kept improving the genre, and then now esports and sponsors, and according to like Medium, the Call of Duty League is worth an estimated $24 million a season. I don't know, that could have changed since I last looked at it. But
And
like,
that's not even talking about the other competitive FPS titles, right?
Yeah.
Like Valorant and Apex Legends. That's
like
just
just
that.
think about it. It was the first FPS to have multiplayer. So, and that was at the time like we didn't have internet, so we couldn't really play multiplayer online. And like this is in the 90s.
Now look, one of the biggest industries in the world, online multiplayer is important as almost any other FPS.
Yeah,
every game.
it's like a mainstay of like almost every FPS. Like you have to have online multiplayer. Like you must have a competitive element to it.
Do they make FPS without online multiplayer anymore? No, right?
No, I don't think there's anyone. Even like the new modern Dooms have like online multiplayer. It always has to have that element.
I feel like if it's not online multiplayer, it's a scary game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Nah,
scary
then
first
it
person.
is, but then it will still have like it must be scary with your friends. Like
Yeah.
it might not be competitive, but there's some online like multiplayer component. And now like I mentioned like the reboots. So Doom 1 and Doom 2 were like really successful, right? They essentially changed the game, right?
Yeah. And there's Doom Tokyo Drift also. And then there's
Yeah.
2 Doom.
Yeah, okay, that is true. Doom 3 was like it's like Tokyo Drift. It was a mixed bag. It went more like horror, survival horror, but it was still okay. Then Doom 2016 came out, rebooted Doom, and it was basically everything we could have asked for. It's like everything that made the original great, and it didn't feel like another generic FPS title. And then they dropped Doom Eternal in 2020, and they did it again, and it was just.
Imagine coming back to Visual like this, how it's done. Like, look at this, bruh. This is where we started, and this is better than anything you'll ever know.
Okay, but that's not all, because Doom also was one of the earliest games to be modded.
Oh, snap.
Do you remember modding?
Yeah, speaking about the modded experience.
Like, like what was like your experience of like modding? Like what do you remember from like modding back in the days?
It was GTA.
Yeah.
And then you could like add skins so that your guy could like dress in other clothes and the cars would be in other
Away.
colors. And you could also sometimes you could draw. You could find like the skin of the car, and you could either like draw on the car and then add it back to the game.
Away.
And then you'd see whatever you drew on the car.
Wait, and then think about also something like Dota. Dota was a mod of Warcraft
yes.
3. So like, and that's more like also its own thing, but that's for another day. Like,
Yeah, wasn't Portal also like basically a mod of
yeah, it was kind of a mod that like grew into
Yeah,
its
yeah.
own thing, and I mean, it started again with Doom. So and like Doom still has a big modding community, and they just keep adding new weapons, new levels, whatever spice they adding it.
Okay, so it pioneered the first person shooter, pushed multiplayer, and helped growth of modding. Is there more?
Yeah, there is more. There's absolutely more. It also influenced gaming music. Like, how wild is this? Like, it went for a more atmospheric tone and that, which like really immersed you in the game, which is today, like that is a mainstay of
Yeah.
gaming. Like, if you think about it.
You go when you put on FIFA, then you hear like a dope ass song, and you go that adds to the atmosphere of how fun the game is gonna be.
Ah, wait. Like,
So
if you
you-
think about it,
Doom is essentially the
think
start.
think
of it.
about like GTA even, like the radio, like that's background music and that also hypes you up. And it Doom essentially pushed that. I mean, most people, if you put on E1, M1, they'll recognize it. They might not know the title name, but they'll recognize the track.
So you're saying that without Doom, we might not have had jazz soundtracks. So are you telling me Doom made Tony Hawk as well?
I would say it made it, but it definitely had like some influence on like music being jazz in games and like just pushing that.
And there you have it. Doom is basically made games what they are today.
Yeah, and don't forget, no, it's basically on everything. So like every video game that can't be ported to everything is far inferior, and that's why Doom is just the goat.